Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Jennifer White, sitting in for Stephen Henderson. Statistics show that by the age of 3, low-income children are hearing 30 million fewer words than their peers in higher-income families. Now there's a new educational model coming to Detroit that will help close the word gap for preschoolers in Southwest Detroit and the Brightmoor neighborhood. The program is called Say and Play with Words. Joining me now are 3 of the project's partners. Kristin McDonalds is with the Skillman Foundation. Maria Salinas is from the Congress of Communities, and Pam Weaver is from the Development Centers. Welcome to American Black Journal.
Thank you.
I want to come to you first, Kristin. Talk about the birth of this program. Where did it start, and what will it do?
We're really excited. So the Skillman Foundation is a children's foundation operating in Detroit, and we are partnering with PNC and the Max and Marjorie Fisher Family Foundations to work with community and think what we can do with community to lessen that word gap. So we know that words are really important. The amount of words that children hear in the first 3 years of life is a really big predictor of how they're going to do when they're entering kindergarten, whether or not how their reading skills are going to build when they get to that really important place of 3rd grade. We're working with the Southwest Detroit and Brightmoor communities because of the amount of assets that are in those communities to really wrap around kids and think about how we can close that word gap and really get kids in the right place and the right start from the very beginning.
Maria, talk about the role your organization will play in this project.
So Congress of Communities currently is doing the on-the-ground, boots-on-the-ground resident-driven work along with Brightmoor Alliance, and so we will be the messenger, making sure that it's getting to the residents, the parents, and really creating a big message around this gap and what's the importance of this partnership coming in and everything that's going to come forth.
And Pamela, what about you?
So I'm from Development Centers, and Development Centers along with Southwest Solutions in Detroit are the partner agencies to help the National Centers for Families Learning roll out its curriculum for families and for children to build their vocabularies. So we have history, both organizations, in early childhood education, and we'll be using our programming and presence to get to families in the communities.
One of the interesting things about this project is there seems to be a belief that still prevails for some reason that learning starts when kids get to the classroom. And what we know is that it starts really in the home and with the family. So talk about how this project integrates the family into that learning process early on.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're absolutely right. Children are learners from the moment they're born, and we need to really think about them in that way, which is a little bit of a different context than what we have been used to. What the intent of this program is to make a literacy-rich environment, words being everywhere, all over the community, so that kids are seeing the importance of words in the barbershops and across the community and grocery stores, and they really get the importance of that. But it's also surrounding the family with books and materials and things they can do to increase the amount of words that kids are hearing in the first 3 years of life. But the really cool part of this is the way that it's bringing parents in and empowering them as a part of their community and as their child's first teacher, to be able to work on their own skills as a part of a service project that benefits the community as a whole, and also is bringing their children along and really having their kids understand literacy from the context of the neighborhood that they live in and the home that they live in and the neighbors that they have.
Maria, is there a Spanish language component to this project?
Yes, it'll start off in Spanish and English, and eventually it'll run into Arabic. Southwest Detroit is a melting pot of different languages, so they're going to start off with those 3 languages. The importance of that, it really is coming from an immigrant sector of neighborhood, pretty much just really making aware the whole concept of the 30 million gap and really promoting to parents the importance of that. And we're going to be able to really get into the doors and promote this so much where people understand this is going to create a level playing ground for the future of all our kids in the inner cities.
Pamela, at the development centers, how do you hope to interact with kids and families? Because it sounds like that may be sort of the stopping point or the starting point for this learning process.
Absolutely. So what we emphasize a lot is that it's not something that's very difficult for parents to do, to have these kind of conversations with their children. It has to be very natural. Children need meaningful interactions and socializing and social opportunities because they're sponges. They'll soak up all the vocabulary you can give them when it happens in a meaningful, natural way. So we emphasize mostly through this program and at development centers with many of our programs, just to create an environment that supports that kind of learning, that helps build vocabulary for children and helps families feel empowered and effective in helping their kids do their best.
So if I'm a parent and I'm pulled into this project and say, well, yeah, I definitely want to shrink this gap of learning for my child, what can I hope to experience as a part of this project?
So this starts from the very easy places. So if you're working, so when you are changing the diaper of a 6-month-old baby, it's about looking them in the eye and saying, look, now we're changing your diaper, and now I'm putting on your socks, and having that space where they're seeing your face react to the words, and they're actually hearing all kinds of different pieces. But it's also you're also, when you're walking to the store, look, that's a tree. That tree is shaped like a triangle. Going into that store and actually having that reinforced at the community so that everyone knows what's happening with that. But there's also a portion of this that the Centers for Family Learning is bringing to it, which is a nationally respected organization that works with a subset of parents in the community. 100 parents will work with their children, and they will create a project in the community that they can do together with their families and with their children to be able to clean up a park or to work directly in a school on something that teachers may have identified is going to be important. So in that, parents are empowered, they're building the assets of their community, but their children are also watching what's happening when you're coming out and working with your neighbors. Everybody focusing on how do we talk more to kids, how do we make their world relevant for them, and mostly how do kids feel 100% supported by all the folks that are in their neighborhood, which we have in spades in both of these neighborhoods.
Why do you think there is this gap in the way language is used for low-income kids as opposed to middle or upper-income children? Is there research around that?
Yes, there's a great deal of research. I'll maybe start and then Kristin can add to what I can say about it. You know, what we see nowadays is that it's very difficult for parents to carve out those types of quality interactions. It's actually just like for everyone here, you're having to schedule and plan. And if you aren't able to schedule and plan those quality interactions, the pace of life today and the stressors that we know that families are under can inhibit or stop that opportunity. Cell phones are a big distraction, televisions are a big distraction, and we know that kids will not learn vocabulary by being in front of the television. They will not learn vocabulary passively just listening to something. It's about...
They need the interaction.
They need the interaction. They need the interaction. It's key. And so that piece is something that we think, oh, we've done a great job, and adults might be able to learn some vocabulary that way, but for children, they need the interaction with someone who's important to them, and it makes all the difference.
I think also parents, particularly low-income parents, need support wrapped around them as well, and we underestimate that a lot. So I have 6 kids. I know what it's like to be really overwhelmed, but I don't worry about whether or not I've got food for my family at the end of the day. So the kinds of stress that we find with low-income parents can be really toxic, and so the idea is that we're working to build parent skills as they're developing and putting words around their kids, but we're also addressing the needs of the parents, some of them very, very young, to be able to address the needs that they have and be able to pull some of the stressors away so they have time to do this.
So Maria, as the person who is bringing this into the community and introducing this program, how do you bridge that gap Kristin was just describing about, look, I have all of these other concerns and stressors in my life, and you want me to do what?
Right.
How do you talk to the community about this?
Well, we're going to infuse the businesses, the churches, the schools to really understand the importance of this and make sure that we're resourcing our parents and simultaneously making sure that they understand the value of this. They need to understand the value of this. And so we sell it to the churches, the schools, our businesses, we promote, we make sure that the parents understand the value and the importance of what this is going to do long term for their children and for themselves. So they got to learn first what the value is of this. And so through our community, our relationships, our partnerships that we currently have that are very strong, we're definitely going to have a movement going here. So this is like a movement to change the landscaping of education for our inner city kids.
Do you see the possibility or the potential for there to be larger impacts on the community beyond just shrinking this word gap, but perhaps bringing the community together in a significant way and getting them to focus on the youngest members of that community?
I think that's absolutely one of the intents. So there's the direct work with the parents and the families, but it's also a community-wide, neighborhood-wide campaign and movement, as Maria was talking about. So there'll be materials in stores throughout the neighborhood. There'll be materials that are available for churches. So the idea is that the community starts to feel like this is something that they're all wrapping around together. So, and that's the place that I think we're going to see a lot of lasting value, as the importance of not just the first 3 years, but the first 5 years and the time before kids reach 3rd grade is something the community owns as a collective responsibility of getting kids on that right path from the very beginning.
And in terms of measuring success,
Right.
what does success look like when we talk about shrinking this learning gap for kids?
It's going to look really great in the communities in Southwest Detroit and in Brightmoor, because one of the things that, the emphasis of having even a literacy-rich environment, one of the things you'll immediately be able to see, which Kristin was talking about, is just more print material available in the community and posted so that they're prompts almost for conversation. We don't think about how deliberate we have to be with some of this now, but we do. I mean, it's not going to happen by accident that the kids are going to have this great vocabulary and that we're going to bridge this gap. It's going to happen by making the environment look different, helping families have opportunities to collect and gather with each other and with community leaders so that they get the opportunity to get the great curriculum that we'll be using with National Centers for Families Learning. There are a lot of great opportunities, very community-based in terms of getting families together in active, real-world kind of situations and opportunities, which will help create the best opportunity.
Right, but we will also see very concretely a rise in our kindergarten readiness rates, excuse me, rise in our kindergarten readiness rates, and we will see kids proficient in reading in the 3rd grade.
Well, we'll be looking forward to seeing that.
That's right.
Kristin, Maria, Pamela, thank you so much for being on American Black Journal.
Thank you so much.